And welcome to the 2020 Open Wheels 500-mile race Open Test Day, live here on Open Wheels TV. And you see the first man on track, Dakota DiCienzo, a 2019 qualifier for the Open Wheels 500. We welcome you here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the virtual version, of course, on iRacing for what is to be 6 hours of open testing today at the Speedway, as we get set and the drivers prepare for next month's second annual Open Wheels 500-mile race. Well, thank you for those who are joining us. My name is Tanner Watkins. I'm the president of the Open Wheels 500 and the host of your broadcast sessions on Open Wheels TV. Throughout the month of November, we will bring you on-track action across Open Wheels TV and our broadcast partner RaceSpot TV. We'll have all practice coverage here on Open Wheels TV, and that'll be accessible online either by Twitch or YouTube. And then for qualifications, we'll also have coverage here on Open Wheels TV, as well as final hour coverage of both pole day and bump day qualifications live on RaceSpot TV. Those will begin at 5 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, the big one, the second annual Open Wheels 500-mile race, that'll air live on RaceSpot TV at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, November 15th. Well, excited to see some cars populating the pit lane now. And we're going to hop out and follow Dakota DiCienzo. Dakota, an experienced driver now who has experience both in the Open Wheels 500 and the iRacing Indianapolis 500 under his belt. We're looking forward to seeing what Dakota can do for this year's race. A little bit of a wiggle off of turn 2 there, but no problems. Dakota qualified 27th last year for the Open Wheels 500. He was a Day 2 qualifier that put in a 4-lap average speed of 229.536 miles per hour. And you see him there in the white and gold Open Wheels Chevrolet. So thank you for Dakota for running the Open Wheels livery on his side pods for today's test session. And I believe he'll have that there for the full month of November as well. So looking forward to that. So if you're following along today and you have access to either another monitor or another streaming device, you can follow timing and scoring at open-wheels.com/timing. So if we have any issues there, feel free to contact us either at my iRacing account, Tanner J. Watkins, or at my Twitter at Tanner J. Watkins. Today's broadcast will be a little bit of a laid-back, relaxed effort. We're going to be working through some different elements that'll be new to Open Wheels broadcasts here for 2020. We've got some more upgrades to the actual hardware itself coming later on this month, so we should be able to bring you an even better production when we get ready for the real thing in the month of November. But as we stand right now, got 5 drivers that have set times thus far. And we follow Dave Stedman, driver from the UK and Ireland club. His best time, a 59.593. He's completed 3 laps so far with a top trap speed 232.5 miles an hour. And Dave's off the pace now, so we flip around to Mikael Häggström. And if anybody hears me pronounce their name incorrectly as well, we'd like to hear on that front. Additionally, we'll compile a pronunciation guide ahead of November's activities, but at this point we are kind of just winging it in a sense as we try to settle into action with November quickly approaching. Eric Peterson taken to the track, Midwest Club member. He's a newcomer for the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Eric is already on the entry list. He'll have sponsorship from Marco Technologies, EcoPrint Q, and Papercut MF, driving for Sire Motorsports in a Dallara IR18 Chevrolet. So happy to have Eric here. Always great to have some newcomers joining the fray. We had an entry list of 104 drivers last year, and we're hoping to top that number in 2020. We're well on our way so far. We'll go in to a little bit of the details of the entry list thus far a little bit later in the show. We plan to bring some commentary through the first hour of this practice session. Right now about 2 hours 45 minutes remaining. You see Eric drifts a bit high there on the exit of turn 2. I think he did scrape the wall just a little bit. But we'll bring you commentary through the first hour or so and then kind of be popping in intermittently for the last 2 hours of the broadcast. Just excited to be back here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway doing some testing at the famed Brickyard. The NTT IndyCar Series was there just a couple weeks ago. We had the Harvest Grand Prix, won by a pair of Penske drivers, Will Power and Joseph Newgarden. While the races for the win itself weren't necessarily fought tooth and nail over, there was some fantastic racing just throughout the pack. And I'd have to say 2 of the best races that we'd seen on the Indianapolis road course to date. NBC did a fantastic job of picking up a bunch of the action. I felt like they hardly missed anything, and I'm not just saying that because I'm somewhat connected to the broadcast, but I think they really did a great job, and there was a lot of action to be had. So it made for compelling television, and we're happy to see the season at Indianapolis at least end that way. Of course, we'll be back for the final race of the 2020 IndyCar season, the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. That's coming up not this weekend, but the weekend after. Sunday, October 25th will be that race, and that'll put a bow on the 2020 IndyCar season. And we'll see if Scott Dixon can win yet another championship, or if Joseph Newgarden could go out and snatch that title away from him after Dixon has led essentially the entire way this year. It's been what appeared to be a runaway at times, but over the last 5 or 6 weekends, we've seen Newgarden slowly chip away at that advantage that Dixon had, and we're excited to see that championship fight go down to the last race of the season once again. So it's looking like Mikael Hagstrom, the driver for Team Players Hagstrom Racing. Looks like he's working through a qualification simulation, trying out some different things. His best lap was his second lap of the session. That was a 39.140. Dakota DiCienzo was the first driver out on track. He was putting in some race trim simulations. 40.903 seconds was his best lap. And of course, we'll be keeping track of who is first on track for official practice on opening day. That'll be Sunday, November the 1st. It's always a moment in the first week of Indianapolis 500 preparations that people pay attention to, who is the first man on track. Of course, Dick Simon and later his drivers that raced for him made it a point to be first on track, mostly as a marketing ploy, but they certainly found a way to grab some headlines that way throughout the various months of May that Dick's cars participated in. So it was exciting to bring a little bit of that tradition here to the Open Wheels 500 last year. Peter Bennett, the driver from the UK and Ireland Club, Team Evo SR Racing last year, he was first on track. Fortunately, Peter did not qualify for last year's Open Wheels 500. He did make some attempts. He was 57th quick overall and a best 4-lap average speed of 228.232 miles per hour. The bubble speed last year was 229.456. That amounts to a 4-lap average time of 39.223 seconds. Of course, when Brandon Traino had to drop out of last year's field during race week, he had qualified 21st. That moved 34th place Andrew Wood into the top 33. His average speed 229.444 and a 4-lap average of 39.225 seconds. That got him in the field after Traino dropped out, and Wood became the last man into the field. So you're watching Dave Stedman currently make laps out on track. He is registered for this year's Open Wheels 500. Driver from the UK and Ireland Club, piloting the DS Racing Chevrolet. That's a Dallara IR18 chassis. So happy to have Dave on hand for this year's Open Wheels 500. It looks like a beautiful red, black, and blue livery, and he just pancaked the right side of that machine and eventually gets in the way of Mikael Hagstrom and causes quite a violent accident. So thankfully just testing currently, and those issues do not cost us any money, but for Dave, that will draw an end to his practice run there. Same for Mikael. We'll watch Dakota DiCienzo out on track right now. Dakota running in alliance with Total Downforce Racing and Team Talent, driving the OpenWheels.com Design JS Chevrolet. That's a Dallara IR18, and Dakota is from Canada. He, I believe, was the only Canadian driver to qualify for last year's Open Wheels 500. So very excited to see if Dakota can match that effort from 2019. Pierre Bourdon, another Canadian, is also on the entry list for this year's race. Pierre was on the entry list for last year's race, but did not make a qualifications attempt. And this year we do have a couple more Canadians, at least to this point, that have gone ahead and registered for the race. If they hop in here later on, we'll highlight them. Last lap for DiCienzo at 39.523, so that's much quicker than his pace set in the outset of the session. So it appears he's going to be on a bit of a qualification simulation, and as he comes out of turn 4 here, let's see if we can do a little bit of an onboard ride with Dakota. I'd like to say that today's broadcast is brought to you by the Majors Series. Happy to have Michaelette and the Majors Series / Majors Garage on board for broadcasts of Open Wheels 500 coverage here in 2020 on Open Wheels TV. So excited to have them play a part here, and it's the racing announcer's curse. Anytime you go to an onboard shot with the driver, undoubtedly he will bring it into the pit lane and head for his pit box. So as we watch Dakota bring it down to the pits, a couple other drivers out on track. Nate Burke scrapes the wall right there, and he brings his run to an end. Mikael Hagstrom still out on track, and we see him lapping in a beautiful blue and white livery. That'll likely be a contender for one of the best liveries of the month of November. Pretty cool paint there for the Team Players Hagstrom machine. And it didn't quite work out for Dakota, but we're going to try to do a little bit on board with Mikael Hagstrom here. Bit of a lift there, and just like we said, brings it to the pit lane, and that'll signal the end of the qualification simulation for Mikael. Rolling down the pit lane at Indianapolis, the world famous pylon and pagoda to each side of the driver as he traverses north to south down the pit lane. As you run at Indianapolis, Dave Stedman here exiting turn 4. That's the north end of the track. You head down the front stretch running south and dive into turn 1. This is the south chute. And I'm not sure how it is for all drivers. Perhaps it changes from year to year. I know it has changed from time to time for me. But where Dave just came from, that was turn 2. That's normally the trouble spot for me in a qualifications run, and even a little bit of difficulty in race trim. It just seems like the margin for error in that corner is a little bit slimmer, since there is a bit of a depression in the road as you run the racing line in a more narrow arc. And you head down towards the curbing. If you hit that depression in the track, and Dave's well above it right there, it's more down by the white line. If you hit it wrong, it'll upset the chassis attitude of the car, and certainly lose speed on a qualifications run, and lose a little bit of momentum in race trim. If you hit that bump or that depression at any point in a 4-lap qual run, you can essentially believe that that's not going to be the best that you can get out of that car. So turn 2 for me has always been a little bit difficult. If I nail turn 2 4 times in a run, then normally that's a decent qualifications attempt for me. But as anybody who's driven this track will tell you, not all 4 of these corners are the same, even though geometrically speaking they're identical. So as more drivers cycle their way into the session, we'll put our scoring pylon up on the left side. We're going to hold off just a little bit longer. We've only had 8 drivers put in times thus far, but we'll bring that up a little bit later and see how the drivers are doing on pace thus far. Again, you can follow along all the time at openwheels.com/timing, where we've got our full timing and scoring page. Currently, Mikael Hagstrom has the best time so far, 39.140 for a single lap. Nate Burke ran at 39.150, so not too far off of the pace set by Hagstrom so far. Filippo Filippini, 39.285. He's completed 9 laps. Dakota DiCienzo is 4th quickest, 39.440. Dave Stedman is P5, 39.521. He's run 16 laps. Eric Peterson, 39.858. Sixth quickest. AJ Burton, who you see slowly working his way around the oval right now. 1 lap complete, 41.305. And also 1 lap complete for Jim Mall and Jami Boulanger. Also in race trim simulations. So Mikael Hackstrom just went out. We're going to try to bring up one more onboard lap. He peels off, so we're going to take a look at Dave Stedman passing down the backstretch, heading into turn 3 right here. Catch Dave coming out of turn 4 here. Happy to bring you the Pit Lane Parlay onboard camera. Pit Lane Parlay, a podcast covering the NTT IndyCar Series. Host Mike Jokum, Jess Baker, Matthew Hickey. Happy to have those folks partner with the Open Wheels 500 again this year. They'll be sponsoring the whole qualifications weekend. Last year, Pit Lane Parlay sponsored the Open Wheels 500 Mile Race Pole Award. They'll again sponsor that in 2020 and be the title sponsor. Qualifications weekend at the Open Wheels 500. That'll be Saturday, November 7th and Sunday, November 8th. So riding along with Dave here. Quite a bit of understeer exiting turn 1, and that certainly put a damper on things in turn 2 there. And Dave really having some trouble pulling it down to the line there, so little tap of the wall on the exit of turn 3, and he'll head back to the pit lane to sort some things out, and that's what it's all about here on Open Test Day. Give each other an option to work in some traffic, perhaps. Do some qualification sims. Pretty much whatever you like as we get ready for the real thing, which will open up on Sunday, November 1st with opening day practice. As we follow Mikael Hackstrom around the track currently. He's the man with the second most laps put into practice thus far. Dave Stedman with 21 is the high water mark thus far. Happy to welcome Phil Watkins, Gary Holtman, watching from Oregon. Phil is my grandpa and the Director of Technology for the Watkins Motorsports Group and Open Wheels Motorsports Sanctioning. Grandpa Watkins and Gary helping out with some audio levels today. Happy to elevate our audio game a bit in 2020 with the new Yamaha MG10 mixer, as well as the Sennheiser HMD 27 headset. So for me, it's all new technology, and happy to dive into it. It's been a interesting journey thus far to learn the ins and outs of a little bit more professional audio. But all in good fun. Happy to have them watching along today from the Pacific Northwest. Cale Hackstrom brings it down the pit lane, hard into the wall, and we'll move on to another driver, Xander Fritz, coming down the front stretch, and you'll notice his chassis is just a little bit different than everybody else. He's running a Dallara DW12 body, promptly puts it in the wall. Xander's not quite on the entry list at the Open Wheels 500 just yet, but that is one unique aspect of the Open Wheels 500, the option to run any of the 3 available chassis that are offered on iRacing. That includes not only the current generation Dallara IR18, but as you've seen there, also the previous generation Dallara DW12, as well as the oldest edition on iRacing, that is the Dallara IR05, which was most recently raced in 2011. So last year we didn't have any DW12s or IR05s make the field by way of speed. But it is an interesting wrinkle into the Open Wheels 500, the ability for drivers to try the different chassis options that are available to them. And it gives maybe some mid to low level teams an option to get creative. More likely with the DW12. But the option's there, and that's why we give it to them. So excited to see how that plays out again this year. The vast majority of drivers have selected the Dallara IR18 once again as their chassis of choice. AJ Burton driving an IR18 for the i5G with Apex Racing Team and Broken Arrow partnership. AJ carrying sponsorship from i5G Engineering Enterprises and i5G World Team Racing. That's a Dallara IR18 chassis with a Honda power plant. New for this year, we're excited to have Honda and Chevrolet join us as official partners of the Open Wheels 500-mile race. Chevrolet and Honda can now officially be recognized as the power plant providers of the Open Wheels 500, and new for 2020, drivers will now get to pick which engine manufacturer they wish to represent on the entry list and in promotional materials. So thanks to the folks at Chevrolet and Honda, their PR departments, for allowing us to bring them into the mix officially for 2020. We had some representation in 2019, but it wasn't quite official, and you couldn't run the manufacturer logos on the RaceSpot TV broadcast. Thankfully for this year, with the permissions that we've received, we can do just that. So thanks again to Chevrolet and Honda for their involvement in the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Hackstrom off the pace now, and the driver that runs ahead of him, Soleo Angelo Luigi. Slow making some laps right now in his blue Dallara IR18. So far, we've had 16 drivers present their car to the pit lane. Again, Mikael Hackstrom, the quickest thus far, 39.140. He's run 27 laps. Dave Stedman has run 28 laps, and his best time, 5th quickest, 39.521. Happy to see some drivers joining the fray that aren't on the entry list thus far. Again, entries still being accepted towards the 2020 Open Wheels 500-mile race. For more information, drivers can email me, Tanner at open-wheels.com, or you can personal message me by finding Tanner J. Watkins on iRacing. Entry period for the Open Wheels 500 is still open. That'll continue until Monday, October 26th at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. At that time, all entries will be compiled and we'll have our entry list for the 2020 race. No entries will be accepted after October 26th. Have a few other drivers jumping out on track right now. That includes Tim Doyle, a veteran of the iRacing IndyCar community, former iRacing Indianapolis 500 feature race winner. And Tim will be back for the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Great to have him again in the fray. Last year he qualified for the 500. He was 16th fastest, and in the end finished 23rd, 2 laps down. Driving the number 14 machine, which I think is a not too subtle nod to famous AJ Foyt. So excited to have Tim again on track of the Open Wheels 500. Foyt Wine Vaults, a sponsor on his machine, which this year he's running under the Ludicrous Speed team banner. So you see Mikael Hackstrom whipping by Doyle right there. I think Tim probably doing a bit of a race run. Mikhail might have the qualifying boost tuned up there. His last lap, a 41.101. Getting some decent involvement here. And this will probably bite me, but let's try another onboard run. Jumping on board here with Tim Doyle. An interesting part of iRacing, in real life you'll see these drivers come off corner exits on turns 2 and 4 and really pinch the car down off of the corner and bring it down low, almost near the center to innermost part of the track through the straightaways before arcing back out to the wall for corner entry of turns 1 and 3. You don't see that in iRacing. It's not as necessary. The chassis don't bind the same way coming off the corners. So this allows drivers to just drive in a straight line as they come out of turns 2 and 4. And the theory is the less track distance that you travel, the better off you'll be for overall speed. So really, if you're essentially making a banana shape out of that backstretch and you come off the corner and dive low to the bottom and then come back out to the wall for corner entry of turns 1 and 3, you're traveling more distance than if you would travel straight down those straightaways on the front stretch and the back stretch. So in iRacing, you won't see drivers duck low like that as you would in real life, except for breaking the draft. And you may see some of that during race sessions or practice sessions, which are simulating race runs. It'll be a bit more common then as drivers try to defend position. But you won't see that for qualifications attempts very often here on iRacing. Again, riding along here with Tim Doyle, the Major Series onboard camera. And we'll follow Tim for another lap or so. Watch him bring it around to the famous Yard of Bricks here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As always in iRacing, it's a beautiful day. We'll give you some weather conditions a little bit later on. For this test session, all weather is static, set at mid-afternoon time slot with partly cloudy conditions, ambient temperature at 78 degrees, and track temp hovering around 120 degrees. It's bounced between 119 and 120 as we've sat in this session. As you watch Tim down there riding around in 5th gear, certainly a race trim run here. He's run 7 laps, best lap time of 40.198 seconds. And Tim hailing from the Atlantic Club here on iRacing. So we'll hop off the onboard cam with Tim and head back to our TV cameras set up around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll be happy to bring you coverage all through the month of November here on Open Wheels TV. And we'll be utilizing around 60 cameras stationed throughout the Speedway in Indianapolis to help bring you unique camera angles and some in-depth coverage of practice and qualifications as we head into what is the second running of the Open Wheels 500. So as we watch Tim bring it across the line, we'll hop around to some other drivers. Bringing his car up to pace with some blue painted wheels. 2020 Open Wheels 500 newcomer Aaron Roofs. And Aaron, if I need to adjust the pronunciation of your last name, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to do so. But Aaron joining us for this year's Open Wheels 500. Aaron bringing sponsorship from Artesian, Dash the Reds, and Rogue Energy. He'll be driving for Rated Gaming in the number 26 Delar IR18 Honda. So coming up on completion of our first hour of testing right here. It's about 5 minutes left till we hit the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Catching a nice little battle right there between Aaron Roofs, Nate Burke, both drivers on the entry list for this year's Open Wheels 500. Nate running a AJ Foyt Racing tribute scheme right there. The number 14 piloted this year, ABC Supply car driven by Tony Kanaan. We'll see where Tony ends up for 2021. No, he's got a lot more left in the tank, so we'll be excited to hopefully see him back at the Brickyard in 2021. Tony Kanaan very active on iRacing. If you are an iRacer and you've followed Tony or added him to your studied list, he's got sessions up pretty much every evening. Running at various racetracks in the hosted sessions, so cool to see drivers like Tony and other individuals in the IndyCar community such as Sage Karam and even Simon Pagenaud advocating for sim racing and its viability not only as an entertainment product but for true competition. I truly believe that iRacing provides drivers with the best ability to compete at an accurate and realistic level virtually in comparison to what is offered in the real world for those that can't race in the real world, such as myself. I think I've always wanted to be a race car driver, and I would have appreciated the chance at some point to go out and do some go-karting perhaps, or some entry-level Formula car racing. And I think all of us that run here on iRacing have that in our DNA at heart. But obviously the costs of going racing in the real world just a little too high for most folks, and iRacing allows us to scratch that itch in what we feel is the best playing field available online. So that's the reason why the Open Wheels 500 is held here on iRacing. I think it's the most accurate simulation service available. And we're excited to bring this to you. The Open Test Day, the Open Wheels 500. Aaron Ruffs brings his car down the pit lane. We'll see who else we can ride around with. Looks like our friend Niall McBride is out on track. Niall hailing from Ireland. His blue, white, and green Team Talent machine right there. We'll be driving the number 41 Chevrolet at this year's Open Wheels 500. And Niall was one of those guys just on the outside looking in 2019. Qualified 37th fastest, just missing the field of 33. His 4-lap average speed in the final qualifications run he made, 229.352. That's a 4-lap average time of 39.241 seconds. So as we roll through the end of this first hour here, we thank everybody that's watching us on Twitch right now. Twitch was our primary streaming platform in 2019. It served us well through practice and open test streaming last year, but later on this afternoon, we're going to try out something a little different. When this session ends at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific, we'll have a 1-hour break, and then at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, we'll have our second session of the day, and that'll be shown through our YouTube channel. So all you have to do to access that channel, go to open-wheels.com/openwheelstv, and you'll be able to follow us along at our YouTube channel there. Some good side-by-side racing through the corner, and neither driver makes it out the other end. Niall McBride ends up in the wall, and that'll draw an end to his current run. Eric Peterson running down the front stretch just ahead of Tim Doyle there. So as we were saying, right now we're on Twitch, and a little bit later we'll try out our YouTube channel, and you can access that by going to open-wheels.com/openwheelstv. Not sure if we'll utilize Twitch later on in November. If we have issues with YouTube, then we probably will go back to Twitch, because we know for the most part it's worked out well on that platform. I know today we're working through some various production elements that are taxing the PC a little bit, so we've got some reinforcements coming towards the end of October. Some upgrades with our memory, our CPU, and our graphics card that we're looking forward to, so hopefully we can bring you an even cleaner stream when we start this thing up for real on Sunday, November 1st for opening day at the Open Wheels 500. Still riding along with Eric Peterson here as he brings it to the pit lane. Be a good time to give you a rundown of the 2020 Open Wheels 500 schedule. So as we mentioned, on Sunday, November 1st, opening day of practice, we'll kick things off on November 1st with a little bit shorter than normal practice, but we'll also have an airing of Today at the 500 presented by Pit Lane Parlay. Then on Tuesday, November 3rd, Thursday, November 5th, we'll have practice days on those dates as well. A Today at the 500 airing at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, November 3rd, and at 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, November 5th, we will have the qualifications draw ahead of pole day qualifications and bump day qualifications on Saturday and Sunday, November 7th and 8th. In between all that is Fast Friday practice on Friday, November 6th. And after we get through qualifications weekend, again, 2 practices for a race week. That would be Tuesday, November 10th and Thursday, November 12th. Followed by final practice on Saturday, November 14th. That's the day before the 500. Featuring, again, final practice plus the Veterans 100 and the pit stop competition support races. And that all leads into Sunday, November 15th, the big day, race day for the second annual Open Wheels 500-mile race presented by Mitchell Transmissions. Coverage of pre-race will begin on Today at the 500 beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And race day coverage on Race Spot TV will be shown live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So excited to bring you a bunch of action at the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Let's jump on board with Mikael Hagstrom here. He's running up in 6th gear, carrying about 230 miles an hour into turn 1 there. So certainly on a qualifications run, Hagstrom been working hard through the qual sims thus far. We have a new driver atop the leaderboard. Eric Peterson just shot up there with a 39.019 best lap. Could have been draft aided with a bit of horsepower added with the qualifications boost, but quick lap nonetheless. We'll see who the first driver to get into the 38s will be on this afternoon. Hagstrom brings it out of turn 4. 39.288 was his most recent lap. And on that lap, a bit quicker, 39.114. His quickest lap of the session. He was held up a bit by a car in front of him, so he'll bring the car off the track and reset for another opportunity. Gary Corley leaving the pit lane right there. He's another one of the drivers that joining our session today who is not quite registered for the Open Wheels 500 just yet. But we're excited to have him on board. Hope he has a good time in today's open test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and shows an interest in registering for the 2020 Open Wheels 500 presented by Mitchell Transmissions. Bit of a slide for Gary right there. So we'll join some other friends around the track and work in our practice bug. So as you see, we've got some various colors over there on the timing pylon. When a driver's name is actually in blue, that indicates that they are on the pit lane. The blue certainly blending in with our blue background. So we're going to work on that a little bit as the day progresses. You can see the times up top. Cilio Angelo Luigi has gone and posted that first sub 39 second lap, 38.766. And he goes to the top of the leaderboard. So excited to see that. Our first lap in the 39, or the 38s, I'm sorry. So you see a handful of drivers out on track now. Excited to get things going in earnest here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. First day of track action for the new 2020 Open Wheels 500. It's open testing. See Tim Doyle working his way around Niall McBride there, with Nate Burke following them. Had some great participation so far in the first session, and we know there's going to be quite a few drivers joining us for the second stanza later on this afternoon. That's again 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Open Wheels YouTube. That'll be open-wheels.com/openwheelstv. And you can follow us along with timing and scoring at open-wheels.com/timing. We've had 17 drivers put in laps thus far today. 19 cars have been presented to the pit lane. The only two who haven't made a lap so far, Eric Pelletier and Hugo Olsen. Hugo was one of our Rookie of the Year candidates last year, an independent driver who worked his way into the Open Wheels 500 in 2019. We're happy to have Hugo back this year, and he's running with Power Slide Motorsports in 2020. So the group that is annually a contender. One of their drivers was Henry Bennett. Henry finished third at last year's Open Wheels 500. He was one of two British drivers to finish in the top three. And while we're on the subject, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at those top 10 finishers from the 2019 Open Wheels 500. Michele Costantini was our race winner. Of course, the race finished under yellow, but the Italian driver was the inaugural winner of the Open Wheels 500. Of course, I mentioned previously Liam Quinn, Henry Bennett, a couple British drivers finishing second and third. Simon Bryant, the driver from the Pacific Northwest finished 4th. Another power slide driver, Adam Blocker, he finished 5th. And even in the back half of that top 10, a bunch of talented drivers. Joshua Chin, a former winner of the iRacing Indianapolis 500's feature race. Bradley Walters, a veteran in the sim racing community. Rick Music finished 8th. He's the 2015 iRacing Indianapolis 500 overall pole sitter. And Jeff Drake, Joe Branch finishing 9th and 10th respectively. A couple strong drivers in their own respects. Jeff also very skilled in racing dirt cars on iRacing, and Joe Branch, of course, is the owner of the Indy Elite Series. And we're looking forward to their season starting up in 2021. I'm hoping to get on track at the Indy Elite Series in 2021. So thanks to Joe for everything he does for the Indy Elite Series and putting on a great product there as well. They've been a former partner of the Open Wheels 500, and we hope to continue that in the future. We expect most of these drivers back for the 2020 event. The only guy on the fence a little bit, Jeff Drake, he's got some hardware gremlins he's working through, but outside chance that we could see him back again in 2020. So be great to have everyone back and competitive, working their way towards winning that milk bottle at the 2020 Open Wheels 500, becoming the second winner of our 500-mile race. Dave Sedman rolls by, and it's cool to see on his engine cover right there a bit of a Open Wheels 500 logo, so thank you to Dave for representing the race branding in 2020 on his car. You see it there on the cover of our scoring pylon. We worked the Indianapolis skyline into the race logo in 2020, giving a nod to the Circle City and the great town of Indianapolis. Always a good time going up there, and hoping to be up there even more in 2021. Hoping to have everybody back, fans at the Indianapolis 500 in 2021. That's the hope. So an hour and 45 minutes left in this particular session. Got a lot of comers and goers in this group. So for a little while, we'll step away, just leave you with the sights and sounds of Indianapolis. We'll bring up the audio of our cameras at the track while I step away from the mic for a little bit, and then we'll bring it back down whenever I come back for a little bit more commentary. In about 15 minutes time, we'll see you at about 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks for watching Open Testing at the Open Wheels 500-mile race live on Open Wheels TV. We'll be back in just a little while. And welcome back to Open Wheels coverage of the 2020 Open Wheels 500-mile race open test session today. Live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on iRacing. Excited to bring you wall-to-wall coverage of today's open test. We'll have about an hour and a half left in this session. And that'll bring the first practice stanza of the day to a close. And then we'll get going again at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific for another 3 hours of on-track action. And it'll be a similar format as we've done with today's early afternoon broadcast. We'll run pretty much uninterrupted through the first hour with commentary and talk about the drivers and storylines surrounding today's open test, and then take little breaks from there on out. That's how we're going to do it to close out this session. We're going to go about 15 minutes off, 15 minutes on, alternate that until we come to the end of the session. So we'll be with you. We're going to go to the top of the hour. So we'll take it till 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific. Hang around for about the next 30 minutes or so, then do a little bit of 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off. As you see on the top left-hand corner, about an hour and a half left in today's session. We've pulled the scoring pylon for the moment. We're going to tinker with that and a little bit of the text colors, see if we can get something a little bit more readable for you folks when we head over to YouTube for the late afternoon stream. So we'll hold the pylon for now, but bring it up a little bit later. Today's an open test for everybody involved, production-wise, the race teams. Happy to bring you along with the action as we all kind of feel our way through today's test session and prepare for what November will bring us. Hopefully a lot of excitement, a lot of drama. Looking forward to it at the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Right now you're riding along with Raul Alvarez. Raul was part of last year's Open Wheels 500. Was on the entry list, but did not make a qualifications attempt. Oh, I'm sorry, he did make a qualifications attempt. He was 64th fastest overall. 225.534 was his 4-lap qualifying speed. The bubble speed was 229.456, as we mentioned earlier in the show. It's good to see Raul out and about making laps. He's right now 19th fastest in the session. Looks like he's running through some race simulations. Plotting a 41.402 second lap as his best lap of the session so far. Alvarez being trailed by Niall McBride as another driver jumping out into the fray to join them. Alvarez and McBride tangle, and that triggers a multi-car accident. Tim Doyle avoids carnage, brings his car down the pit lane. And Dakota DiCienzo, he continues to race on. DiCienzo works through turn 2. Let's go to one of my favorite cameras, the nose cam. And this was a welcome addition to the Real Life IndyCar broadcast camera package. And just as exciting, here in iRacing, you get a really good sense of the actual speed these cars are moving at and how small the margin for error actually is. And while we roll through turn 2, we'll give you a bit of an idea of where that depression in the road is that we talked about a little while ago. Pretty simple through turn 1, one of the easier turns on the track, but here in turn 2, right about here, if you get the car too low, certainly we'll hit that depression in the track with the left side tires, and it really just upsets the chassis attitude as you roll through turn 2. Turn 3 can be a bit of a bugger at times, and in a qualifications run, turn 4, you're normally just holding on for dear life by the 4th lap in turn 4, but that's the beauty of Indy. It's always a challenge. That's why the 500 is the greatest race in the world. And it's why we all hold it very near and dear to our hearts. So thank you for Dakota giving us a lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway right there. And he's starting to catch some traffic ahead of him, joining the racetrack. Now up to 24 drivers who have presented cars at the Speedway today. 20 drivers with times posted. And a new leader atop the board is Tim Doyle. 38.729 seconds, his best lap time of the day. Edging out Sileo Angelo Luigi, 38.766 for him. And Mikael Hagstrom, he did jump into the 38-second bracket with a 38.996. Hagstrom has run more laps than anyone today, 69 total. Nice. And Sileo Angelo Luigi second with 63. Other drivers with a decent bulk of laps completed. Dave Stedman, 52. Tim Doyle, 45. 46 for Nate Burke. He's back in P9. Dakota DiCienzo, 40 laps logged. 38 for Eric Peterson. He is P4. Jesper Orman, 34 complete. And a few drivers with more than 20 laps completed. Aaron Ruff's 28. 26 for Niall McBride. He's P14 so far. And 22 for Jim Mall, the driver from the Mid-South Racing Club. Top trap speed so far today was set by Charles Teed, 240.1 miles an hour. So the first driver into the 240 mile an hour bracket. Next on the list was Tim Doyle, who has the top time in the session. He went 239.8. Doyle also had the best 5-lap average speed, 39.090. He's the only driver with a 5-lap average in the 39s. Most other drivers with decently long runs to generate 5-lap averages have been making race trim runs. The best driver in that bracket, Jesper Orman, 40.836, his 5-lap average best. Now McBride has the best 10-lap average run today, 40.903 seconds. and only 2 drivers with 15 lap runs. That's Tim Doyle and Sileo Angelo Luigi. Doyle ran 41.106, and Sileo ran 41.278. So while we have a little bit of a break in the action here, we'd like to take the moment to recognize a furry friend who moved on to his next stage of life this week. The pup you see on your screen there, his name is Lugnut, and he's a pet owned by Jerry and Tammy Hall, the family that owns and operates Mitchell Transmissions. Unfortunately, Lugnut passed away earlier this week, and it's evident by the outpouring of support that we've seen on social media and various platforms that Lugnut was very loved, and he'll certainly be missed by not only the Hall family, but everybody at the USI family and those who had the joy of getting to see him on social media and whatnot. With that, Open Wheels offers its thoughts and support to the Hall family. Rest easy, little man. Bring you back to Indianapolis. It's about an hour and a quarter remaining in this open session. As you look high above the 2.5 mile Brickyard, the golf course at Brickyard Crossing there at the bottom of your screen, and 4 holes of that course on the inside of the track. Quite a setting for a place to knock the little white ball around, certainly. Let's get back to the the action that's happening down below on track. Cesar Manzatto and Eric Peterson exiting turn 2. Take a moment to talk about Cesar. Cesar from Italy, driving for North Sim Racing, a Chevrolet entry with sponsorship from Alex.it, Drive Game Seat, and Till & Horvat Racing Design. He's not the only driver from North Sim Racing. Actually, I've been saying the name incorrectly all session long. Sileo Angelo Luigi, his name is actually Angelo Luigi Sileo. And I knew he was on the entry list already, but I couldn't find him earlier. He actually goes Angelo Luigi Sileo. He's also a driver for North Sim Racing from Italy. Sponsorship from Alex.it, Drive Game Seat, and Till & Horvat Racing Design. So excited to have them on board. And I know Andrea Giacometti from Italy, he's another driver for North Sim Racing. He'll be working his way into the session a little bit later. I know he was eager to get back out on track, make his first laps of the Open Wheels 500 this morning. Just waiting to get back to his rig and climb in for today's open test at the Open Wheels 500. Cesar Manzano on the pit lane. About to roll back out on track. Italian driver working his way back onto the surface. Ahead of Mikael Hagstrom. We'll see if they do a little bit of dueling in race trim. Hagstrom, his last lap, a 41.284, so definitely running in race pace. And one thing you'll notice from last year's streams, we had fans in the stands for practice and in all of our sessions. You'll notice this year we won't have any fans showing up in the stands for practice or qualifications, but it will be there for race weekend broadcast, trying to replicate kind of the visuals that you see throughout the month of May at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indianapolis 500. Not normally folks there for practice, so we'll replicate that on our broadcasts. And when you see the folks in the stands, you'll know that things are getting a little bit more intense. So I think you'll see that on the Race Spot TV broadcast. Again, they'll have final hour coverage of qualifications both days on Saturday, November 7th and Sunday, November 8th. Those broadcasts will begin at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And on those broadcasts, we'll determine the pole sitter for the 2020 Open Wheels 500-mile race. That'll be on Saturday, November 7th. And the field of 33 will be set by 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, November 8th. We'll have 1 week to dive into that field of 33 and who will take aim at winning the milk bottle for the second Open Wheels 500. And a week from Monday will be the race broadcast live on Race Spot TV, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Preceding that will be today the 500 pre-race. Our show here on Open Wheels TV begins live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And for any folks that are listening at home, drivers that are planning on taking in some of the action and making some laps in our session later on this afternoon, we'll be happy to have you for some interviews. Might grab a driver or two and have a talk if we can squeeze that in. We'll do that through our Discord server, so if you're not already connected to our Discord channel and you got your acceptance email, please go ahead and follow the link in your 2020 Open Wheels 500 acceptance email. Join the Discord server, put your full name when you join the server as your username, and we'll see if we can get some guests on the show, talk a little bit about maybe some changes from last year to this year as far as the way cars driving, the cars handling. One thing that we have not talked about yet, which of course will be a big storyline, the aero screen. Last year's race we ran without the aero screen. The cockpits were fully open. And this year, starting with the iRacing Indianapolis 500 back in May, drivers have had to work around Indianapolis with that aero screen attached, and it's certainly changed the balance of the car, the way the car behaves, and that have forced some changes to setups, and I think allowed for a little bit of a shakeup from last year's pecking order, if you will. So we're excited to see how that plays out, because while it may have slowed race pace just slightly, we do expect it'll pick up qualification speed, because there have been an increase in engine boost for the qualifications trim, which prompted record speeds at this May's iRacing Indianapolis 500. We're hoping that can generate some record speed at the Open Wheels 500 in a few weeks' time. Be great to see that track record set by Young O back on November 10th come down. I'm sorry, November 9th is when Young put in his best time. It was a 4-lap run of 229.925 miles an hour and a 4-lap average time 39.143 seconds. So we expect somebody will get into the 230 mile an hour bracket. Could we see 231? It'll be interesting to wait back and see. One thing that's different from the iRacing Indianapolis 500 is that drivers have an outlap to consider here at the Open Wheels 500. Normally, for the iRacing Indianapolis 500, you come off the pit lane, and the first time by the start-finish line, that begins your first time lap. That's not the case of the Open Wheels 500. You leave the pit lane, and your first time by the starter stand, you actually begin your warm-up lap, which is not timed. And the second time by the start-finish line, that begins your 4-lap qualifications run. So an extra lap, it does make a difference on the tires, on the cars. Another variable for these teams to consider as they make the adjustments from May's iRacing Indianapolis 500 and November's Open Wheels 500-mile race. Mikael Hagstrom deep into a race trim simulation here. Working his 13th lap, he comes to the pit lane. Jordan Riddick having some issues entering the pits there. So we'll ride around with Angelo Luigi Saleo. Great participation so far in today's open test. Now 28 drivers at the Speedway and 24 drivers with times posted. One thing to look for as we continue to lay laps down here in this practice session, watching the groove work its way in. You can see that racing line starting to develop in the corners down by that white line. Jesper Orman continues to make laps. The Scandinavian driver representing Three Crowns Racing, driving the Vopsi.com Honda. He is a newcomer to the Open Wheels 500-mile race, so excited to have him on board here in 2020. Certainly a talented driver that we look forward to seeing. Try to make his way into that field of 33. So if you heard a high-pitched whirring sound, that was the Dallara IR05 chassis of Richard West. So you look at Richard there. The only guy I've seen so far drive the IR05 here in this session, but certainly a unique sound. Car looks to be giving him quite a handful. Runs well wide on the exit of turn 2 and makes a abrupt stop in the turn 2 barrier. So Richard struggling just a little bit. He is at the bottom of the time chart thus far, 43.664, his best lap. And as we mentioned before, a better chance of sneaking in one of those DW12s than a IR05 chassis if you're trying to make the field of 33, but unlikely nonetheless. The IR18 has brought the most pace over the last 2 years since its introduction to the sim back in 2018, I believe it was. And for that reason, it is the popular pick among drivers here in 2020. Well, just a couple minutes left before we take another break, commentary break for about 15 minutes. We'll come back to you at about 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:15 a.m. Pacific Time. And again, we thank everybody that's watched along with us here in the early afternoon. It's been great to get drivers back together again here at Indianapolis. Practice beginning for the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Today's open test session is available to all drivers on the iRacing sim. So even if you're not quite registered for the Open Wheels 500 just yet, you still may go out and make some laps and get a feel for the Brickyard here in October before things start for real in just a few weeks' time in November. Just over 2 weeks until opening day. Riding around with Fabio Viana, and 235 miles an hour as he hauls into turn 1, and on the exit of turn 1, quite a bit of understeer, and he pushes into the outside wall. Eric Peterson, he's 4th on the time charts. Been making some mock qualifications runs. And here's Evan Adams. Evan last year missed the cut for the Open Wheels 500. Actually did not put in a qualifications time from what we can see, and I believe Evan actually ran a Dallara IR05 chassis last year as an independent entry. So this year, Evan back with a Dallara IR18. And for 2020, Adams running with All-American iRacers, piloting a Honda entry. So while we got the time, let's do a quick onboard with Evan Adams. As he rolls out on track here. Onboard camera presented to you by Mitchell Transmissions. 1 hour remaining in practice. You're riding around with Evan Adams, the driver of the number 59 machine for the All-American iRacers. It's always interesting to see, and I know this was talked about by Townsend Bell, Kevin Lee on the NBC Sports broadcast of, I believe, the first day of Indianapolis 500 practice back in August. The offset, steering wheel offset that drivers use here at Indianapolis. And I believe that's modeled here in iRacing because you can see relative turn-in values as the driver turns into the corner. So I believe that would be kicked a bit to the right if there was some offset in Evan's steering wheel, but he's actually got it straight up on the straightaways and a slight turn in the corners. So we'll see throughout today's test if we can find any discrepancies or see what any of the qualifiers from last year's race might be doing. It's common to have a little bit of offset in iRacing for some of the quicker setups, but there's definitely more than one way to crack the nut, so to speak. So watch Evan here. He's leaving quite a bit of room on a corner exit at turn 4 there. We'll ride along with him here on this lap. He's just running through some race runs, so not necessarily imperative that he uses all the track, just getting a feel and knocking the rust off. Running in race trim conditions, you see down there in 5th gear. That time down the backstretch, topping out 223 miles an hour. As Evan comes around to complete this lap. Last lap was 41.134 seconds. This one, 41.227 for Evan Adams. So we're going to step away for a little bit behind schedule with our scheduled breaks. We'll be back at 2:15 Eastern Time, 11:15 a.m. Pacific Time, and continue to bring you coverage of Session 1 at the Open Wheels 500 Test Day. Some great action right there. Hugo Olsen and Jesper Orman as they battle through the north end of the track. We'll leave you with that and be back in just a little while. It's Open Wheels 500 testing live on Open Wheels TV. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Open Wheels 500 testing. You're watching Marco Aurelio Brazil make some laps in his familiar 812 machine for Tent Factory Sim Racing. It's about 45 minutes left in this opening session. Currently the quickest driver of the group, Tim Doyle, he posted a 38.729 second lap. And we've had some great participation thus far in today's practice. At current, there's 31 drivers who have appeared at the Speedway today. 28 drivers posting times. 16 of those drivers under 40 seconds. And watching Dave Stedman make some laps. And while we have a moment, we're going to try to bring in Dakota DiCienzo here. We'll see if we can get him in the studio. Let's see. Hi, Dakota. This is Tanner with Open Wheels TV. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, great to have you back for the 2020 Open Wheels 500. Excited to kind of shake some of the rust off today at the open test. Just first and foremost, have you been recently, and what have you been up to on iRacing?
I've been pretty well. And on iRacing, I really haven't been racing much. I think my last official race was the weekend after the Indy 500. I just wanted to take a little break, refresh, and wanted to make my next race this race.
Yeah, and you were one of the last guys into the field in 2019, so you know the drama and the stress that can come with Open Wheels 500 qualifying. What is it about that first week leading into qualifications weekend that builds that excitement and the anticipation and to a certain extent the stress?
Yeah, it's really stressful, but it's at the same time it's really fun. Knowing you only have 3 attempts to get in, it definitely adds to everything. So when you're doing your practice runs, you just want to make sure you hit everything perfect, and hopefully the muscle memory is there for when you do your actual runs.
Yeah, certainly. We're speaking right now with Dakota DiCienzo, driver of the number 43 machine for Total Downforce Racing with Team Talent. Dakota was a participant in the 2019 Open Wheels 500, made his way into the quality field of 33. And so comparing last year to this year, I talked about it a little bit while ago on this broadcast, perhaps the race trim speeds might be down just a hair with the aero screen added. But what exactly do you expect out of qualifying trim? We saw in real life those speeds went up a little bit compared to what they were in 2019. And we saw with the iRacing Indy 500 those speeds go up a little bit and actually set some new event records. We do have the extra lap with the warm-up lap that you have to do with the Open Wheels 500, but do you think we could see a pole speed up around 231, maybe high 230s for the Open Wheels 500?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with that one warm-up lap, instead of using half the track to get up to speed, you have the whole track, so that first lap, it's going to be a lot faster, and it's going to help that average out. So yeah, I do really expect it to be really fast, and a lot more faster than May.
Definitely. Talking to Dakota DeCenzo right now. Kind of to wrap things up, how were your first laps out there today? You've completed 48 laps, currently P8 on the leaderboard. How do you feel kind of shaking back into the seat here at Indy and making laps around the Brickyard?
Oh, it sorry, it feels pretty good. I'm knocking some rust off, and in making sure all my stuff works, and just trying to get back in the groove of things.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dakota, for joining us, man. Certainly happy to have you back for this year's event, and we'll have you on the air once again soon.
Yes, thank you for having me, and I look forward to starting.
All right. That's Dakota DeCenzo, everybody, the driver of the number 43 machine for Total Downforce Racing with Team Talent. So thanks to Dakota for joining us on air there. We've got Niall McBride sitting in the lounge. We're going to see if we can pull him in as well. Niall McBride, this is Tanner with Open Wheels TV. Do you have a copy?
I got you.
How you doing today, Niall? What's the word from across the pond there in Ireland?
Not too bad. You know yourself, lockdown. It's not great, but what can you do?
That's pretty much the theme of 2020. How's it been out there on track, making your first laps in a little bit at Indianapolis and kind of shaking some of the rust off ahead of next month's Open Wheels 500?
Yeah, I'd basically just focus on just doing a couple of shakedowns, making sure everything works, everything's mapped correctly, and I haven't really been in this car in a while. I've been doing most of the Classic IndyCar series during the year, but yeah, that's good to be back. I haven't really been doing iRacing as often as I used to, but I try to save all the energy for the most important races anyway.
That's a good way to do it. Swinging for the majors, almost like Tiger Woods is right now at this stage of his career. Last year, you just missed the cut qualifying for the Open Wheels 500 in 2019. What was that experience like going through bump day? And at times you were in, at times you were out, multiple runs through that day. Kind of just walk us through what that day was like last Sunday in 2019.
Long story short, I had very little preparation, which is something you need a lot to do qualifying, especially on iRacing. I've a lot of things going on last year. Came back from Brazil, wasn't really sure whether it was available to do qualifying, the work and stuff, and preparing other stuff. So this year, I know that I'm off the weekend of qualifying, and I'm off for the race. So hopefully this time I have a better chance of making it into the field.
Well, you'll be back this year with Team Talent, driving the number 41 machine. A great group of guys around you there, and Dakota's one of those people that I think has really benefited as well from working with Team Talent. What have you gotten out of working with that group that includes yourself, Austin Espity, Josh Chin at Team Chimera, addition into that group, Liam Quinn? What have you kind of pulled out of the last couple of years running with that group, and how's it helped you, especially here at Indianapolis?
I found over the last couple of years I have learned a lot. I've gained some understanding in how the setup works. I don't really do that much setup myself, but I've kind of discovered I kind of notice things a bit more, so I'm able to provide a bit more feedback. I've also kind of contributed that when I'm doing Classic IndyCar series, when, for example, say we don't have a setup and there's no one really available to make the setup, I'd be like, oh, I guess it's up to me then. Because remember we didn't have a setup for New Hampshire, and I just threw one together, and somehow that worked. So it helps to be with a team of people that obviously know what they're doing more than me. Learn from that, and also the banter involved helps as well. The important thing is just having fun with your teammates, mainly.
Yeah, I think a big part of iRacing, it it's extremely competitive, and that part of it's fun. But the practice and like you said, building sets, that goes very in depth to try to be towards the sharp end of the grid, and at times it can get a bit monotonous, especially here at Indianapolis. So having that camaraderie and that team chemistry, I know within the team talent group, it runs deep, and the same could be said probably in that I5G group. They all have a good time within themselves, and I think important part of sticking around in iRacing is finding that group of guys that you can really be comfortable with and be yourself with, but also you communicate well to extract really what you need out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like being in a good group of people that I get along with kind of motivates you to keep going. I feel like if I wasn't in the team, I don't know if I'd be still in iRacing. But yeah, no, it makes a huge difference to be with a team of people that you get along with, and even like you guys just get together and do something even outside of iRacing. Like for example, when I met some of them at Indianapolis last year, I thought there was a really special moment. Kind of made me feel like made me feel like I've got to that stage in iRacing that I've actually met people in person online. But yeah, no, it's a really great. It's a nice feeling to be with a team like that.
Yeah, and it was great to have you at the Indy 500. Talk about that experience of actually getting to come over here and experience the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in person throughout the entirety of race weekend, and watching how that event builds leading up to Sunday.
It's unbelievable. Like I got to meet a couple of drivers, which I didn't think was possible. Got to shake hands with Johnny Rutherford, got to get in the selfie with James Hinchcliffe and Alex Rossi. I don't imagine it's that easy in F1, for example. I know I sound like I'm comparing the two, but everyone just seems real human, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
down to earth, which is something I really like, and it's such a huge event. They don't act like the superstars, which I think is really nice.
Definitely a great point. Talking to Niall McBride right now, driver of the number 41 machine for Team Talent, joining us from the UK, Ireland in particular. Niall, looking ahead to November, we're just about 2.5 weeks away from opening day at the Open Wheels 500. What right now are your expectations for the 2020 race?
First things first, I gotta qualify. Once I qualify, I'm gonna just focus on traffic. Obviously, surviving the first 50 or so laps. I think that there's possibility of getting in the top 10 as long as I stay out of trouble. Just gotta keep my head down and just keep the consistency going.
Yeah, one last question to kind of wrap things up. We were fortunate to have quite a clean race at the 2019 Open Wheels 500. I'm really hoping for that again in 2020. Do you think we could replicate just 2 cautions across the 500 miles of 2019?
Hard to say. Some races you can get that, and some races you can't. Things just happen. You can't prevent drivers from not crashing into each other or having their own mistakes. When someone has an accident, sometimes you can't avoid it. Things just happen like that.
Yeah, that's part of Indianapolis. When it happens big, and it happens fast. Well, thank you, Niall, for joining us, man. Really appreciate you being a part of our event again in 2020. It means a lot for me to see you come back, and thanks again for joining our broadcast today, too.
It's a pleasure. Cheers.
All right, talk to you later, man.
See you later.
That is Niall McBride, driver of the number 41 machine for Team Talent, coming from Ireland. He currently sits 15th on the leaderboard. Best time of 39.396 seconds, and he's driven 36 laps to this point. So we're dead on 1:30 right now. We're going to take another 15-minute break. I'm sorry, we're on 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to take a 15-minute break, rejoin you at 2:45 p.m. Eastern, and bring it home for the last 15 minutes of practice here in Session 1 of the Open Test Day, preparing for the 2020 Open Wheels 500-mile race presented by Mitchell Transmissions. You're watching live on Open Wheels TV. And just about 15 minutes left in practice today for the first session at the Open Wheels 500 test day. We'll have about a 1 hour break in between this session ending in about 15 minutes and the next session beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And in between the sessions, we're going to do a little bit of work on our timing pylon on the left-hand side and give you live timing and the live leaderboard in session 2. And remember, in session 2, we're going to move over to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to visit that by going to openwheels.com/openwheelstv. Again, that's open-wheels.com/openwheelstv. It's a little easier to get to our page that way instead of having to search through YouTube, searching Open Wheels. It doesn't come up as easily, so if you just go to open-wheels.com/openwheelstv, it'll take you there. And our broadcast will start airing around 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Takes a little while for us to hop in the session, but the stream will begin promptly at 4 p.m. Eastern, and you'll be able to follow along with the action there. So as time begins to tick down, under 13 minutes remaining now, Tim Doyle with our fastest lap of the day so far, 38.729 seconds. Angelo Luigi Soleo, second quickest, 38.766. Marco Aurelio Brazil, a former iRacing Indy 500 pole sitter. He's third fastest, 38.908, his best lap. Mikael Hagstrom, he's been busy in this session. 125 laps turned so far. He's the only driver with more than 100 laps logged. He's fourth fastest, 38.980. Eric Peterson, fifth quick, 39.019. Jesper Orman, 39.038. Evan Adams, 39.039. Dakota DeCienzo, who we talked to a little while ago, 39.084. He's eighth quick. Charles Teed, he's ninth fastest, but he has the overall fastest trap speed of the day at 240 miles an hour. And Nate Burke rounds out the top 10. Best lap of 39.150. 17 drivers in the 39-second or better range. 4 drivers in the 38-second range. We've also seen Jason Brophy, Austin Espety put in laps. And you see Jason leaving the pit lane right there, the bright yellow and black car. Brophy will be a rookie at this year's Open Wheels 500-mile race. Happy to have him as a 2020 newcomer. He'll be driving the number 88 OpenWheels.com Chevrolet for Team Talent. Thanks to Jason for running Open Wheels on the car. Jason was the winner of the first fixed iRacing Indianapolis 500 feature race back in May. And he and I tumbled across the start-finish line during the open setup feature race back in May. Jason had a couple great runs throughout the month of May, and certainly has established himself as a contender at Indianapolis. It'll be exciting to see how he fares in the Open Wheels 500 in a few weeks' time. But great to have another driver with iRacing Indy 500 top split experience out on track here at the Open Wheels 500. 10 minutes ago in practice. In total, 34 cars have presented themselves at the Speedway today. 32 have set times. As I mentioned, Mikael Hagstrom, the only driver with more than 100 laps completed, but Dave Stedman is slowly approaching that mark. 97 laps complete for him now. He's out doing some race testing. His last lap of 41.265. There's Dave on track. Dave's given us quite a bit of good content today. Thanks to Dave for coming out and making a bunch of laps with us. Again, a great looking car. Happy to see some of the new liveries out there today. Looking forward to seeing some new ones for the folks that can join us later on this afternoon for the second session. Again, it'll be about 3 hours. And from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll give you some live commentary here on Open Wheels TV. But a reminder, we'll be hopping over to YouTube, going to test out that platform and see how that goes today. We'll give you live commentary over there at open-wheels.com/openwheelstv from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we'll take little breaks here and there for the last couple hours of that session from 5 to 7 p.m. and pop in with some commentary intermittently. Stedman goes around Raul Alvarez joining the track. And Alvarez takes the position back as Stedman heads to the pit lane just ahead of Mikael Hagstrom. We'll watch out the back of Stedman's car as he rolls down the pit lane here at Indianapolis. The victory podium on the right, followed by the Pagoda. Mikael Hagstrom slides by as they work the way past the scoring pylon on the left-hand side. Always great to be here at Indianapolis. And we'll go out and we'll see what Marco Aurelio Brazil is up to. Leaving the pit lane right now. Here's a little cockpit view. We won't use this too often, but just a way for our viewers at home to get somewhat of an idea of what's going on exactly. And this is the more traditional onboard view. Onboard cam represented by the Majors Series. It's about 5.5 minutes left in practice here. We'll see what Marco can do, see if he can put up a big time. Last year, Marco Aurelio Brazil qualified 7th for the Open Wheels 500-mile race. 4-lap average of 229.611 miles per hour. As he comes around to take this flying lap, his last lap of 38.759. So Marco going for one of his patented speed runs, trying to put up a big number. He goes second quickest, Still not quite fast enough as Tim Doyle, but he does move ahead of Angelo Luigi Soleo and puts the first Brazilian driver into P2 for the day. The next fastest Brazilian, Fabio Viana, he is 12th fastest, 39.207. And those are the only two Brazilian drivers that have entered the session today. So as Marco hops out of the car, we'll hop around, see who else we can follow right now. Looks like Niall McBride is back out on track. We'll see if we can give you another special camera angle here that we've been working on for the 2020 Open Wheels 500. This is coming right off the left side mirror, looking ahead towards the racing direction. So it gives an interesting contrast to the normal onboard cam and a nice perspective to really show how close these cars are to the ground, how close the drivers must get to the white line and the curbing to really extract all the speed they can out of each corner. Now McBride talking to us earlier, talking about his focus and determination towards making the 2020 Open Wheels 500. He just narrowly missed out on making the field in 2019, and as he said earlier, he's hunting for majors and certainly looking for some extra speed to find his way into that field of 33 this year and contend for the milk bottle given to the race winner at the conclusion of the Open Wheels 500. Right now doing some race pace laps, 41.020, the last lap for Niall. He slides through turn 3 into the north chute as we close in on the final 2 minutes of session 1 practice here at the Open Wheels 500 Open Test Day. This session concludes. We'll give you a little rundown of the fastest drivers of the day to this point, and we'll reset that leaderboard for session 2. We'll keep those session 1 results handy and nearby, but kind of a clean slate for session 2. We'll see who shows up, and hopefully we get as good a participation as we had so far today. It's been awesome to see the amount of drivers come out. 32 times set so far in this first session, so we'll see who we can get for session 2. Hopefully some overlap and reset things in about 1 hour's time. Less than 1 minute left in practice here. We'll bring it home with Niall McBride. Riding on board with Niall here. Might have a chance for one more lap at the conclusion of this one. About 15 seconds left in practice. Niall brings it through the north chute. Now down through turn 4, and you see how the groove is much darker now than it was just a little while ago. And he just gets across the line for one more timed lap. Let's see if he finishes it out. Nice and smooth out to the wall on the exit of turn 1. Easy pull down through turn 2, and now down the back stretch here at Indianapolis, heading south to north. Brings it through turn 3. Nice and safely through turn 4. And now down to the pit lane. So that brings a conclusion to session 1 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The opening stanza of testing for next month's Open Wheels 500-mile race now complete. And we'll give you a quick rundown of the times. Tim Doyle was fastest, 38.729, his best lap. Marco Brazil, 38.759. Sileo Angelo Luigi, 38.766, his best lap. Mikael Hagstrom was 4th quickest, 38.98. Followed by Jesper Orman, Eric Peterson, Evan Adams, Dakota DiCienzo, Charles Teed, and Nate Burke inside the top 10. Driver the most laps completed, Mikael Hagstrom, 130 laps finished. Dave Stedman finished right on 100 laps complete for the session, so those two guys logged the most laps. The driver with the quickest 5-lap average speed, Tim Doyle, 39.090 seconds. The best 10-lap average in the field belonged to Dakota DiCienzo, 40.868 seconds. Was his best 10 consecutive lap run. And Tim Doyle had the best 15-lap run. Only 2 drivers completed 15 consecutive laps. That was Doyle and Angelo Luigi Sileo. Doyle had a 41.106 15-lap average run. And Angelo Luigi Sileo, 41.278. Top trap speed of the day was 240 for Charles Teed, 240.2 to be exact. And in total, there were 34 drivers that presented cars at the Speedway in Session 1. 32 official times were set. 18 drivers quicker than the 40-second mark, and 4 drivers quicker than the 39-second mark. We'd like to say thank you to everyone that took part in today's broadcast. Happy to bring it to you on Open Wheels TV. Remember, in just about 1 hour's time at 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live at our YouTube channel for Session 2 at the Open Wheels Open Test Session. You can go to open-wheels.com/openwheelstv and catch the second session there, where we'll have live commentary from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll pop in for some various commentary opportunities from 5 to 7 p.m. to bring us home through that second test session here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're happy to bring it to you live on Open Wheels TV on iRacing as we get ready for next month's OpenWheels.com 500-mile race presented by Mitchell Transmissions. Well, thank you to everybody who joined us here at IMS. For everybody at OpenWheels.com, I am Tanner Watkins. Happy to bring you the action this afternoon. We'll be back just about an hour from now. See you at 4 p.m. Eastern for the second half of Open Testing at the Open Wheels 500-mile race presented by Mitchell Transmissions. We'll see you soon. Thank you.